Good morning. This is Steve Caton, the Science and Operations Officer with the National Weather Service in Blacksburg. It's Monday morning, January 10th, about 7:30 in the morning, and thought we'd give you a quick briefing on this complex winter weather system that's shaping up for today into Tuesday, with continuing winter weather concerns actually throughout much of the rest of the week. We're starting here with a current loop of the surface conditions and radar mosaic. You can see we already have an area of precipitation moving up into the southern Appalachians, where we currently have surface high pressure dominating. As a result of that, this is very dry surface high pressure, so the precipitation, the northern part of the leading edge of this, is really having a tough time moving into this area. There's some very light snow that's developed in the northwest North Carolina mountains and far southwest Virginia, but it's very, very light so far. You can see a surface low down along the Gulf, which is going to track well to our south. And we have another piece of this storm system, another major significant piece of energy that's still out in the plain state, and that's going to be lifting across us more later tonight and into Tuesday. So we really have two main pieces of energy that we're going to be looking at over the next 2 days, which is adding to the complexity of what different areas can expect as far as the precipitation. Let's take just a closer look at the radar mosaic for the region. You can see this really indicates that the precipitation so far looks pretty light. This is all in the form of snow. Heavier amounts of precipitation, some snow, some rain, well down to the south. So for the remainder of today, Monday, I think we can look for mainly very light activity. And even though it looks like this area may be moving in soon to the New River Valley, Roanoke Valley areas, it may have a very, very difficult time doing so because the air is just so dry to begin with. So we may not see much of anything north of 460, and even I think down to the North Carolina border, it's going to be very, very light. We may pick up some light accumulations midday this afternoon across the North Carolina mountains and parts of the foothills in Piedmont. But it's going to just take a while before it begins to accumulate because it's so light to begin with. I think we'll see this area fill in a little bit with time, so maybe by late this afternoon or this evening, that'll look a little bit better as it moves across. But we'll see how that takes shape. Let's look at the forecast now. These are graphics from the Hydrometeorological Prediction Center, which show again midday today we have the surface low pressure, kind of a double barrel low across northern Florida, and this shield of precipitation well to the north of that. The heavier amounts, though, you can see almost look like they're potentially going to stay just to the south of our area. This would be the shaded area in here. The rain snow line way down here, and then very light snow up in this region here up to the northernmost green line. As we go into this evening, you can see that does spread across most of our area, but again, this is the very light precipitation for the most part in the form of snow. More moderate snow may track across the northern counties of North Carolina right up to the Virginia border, but may not get much farther north than that. And as we get into tonight, you can see that continues. Maybe there's a chance of some moderate snow across the south. Very light, though, through much of Virginia and West Virginia. And into Tuesday morning, now is when we begin to see this next wave. For the most part, will be lifting up to the northwest of us, but there could be some very light precipitation with that as well, although the moisture is going to get pretty shallow. So we may be transitioning by Tuesday morning into some light freezing drizzle. And this is the big question. Will we be able to continue some light snow for these areas, or is the moisture going to get way too shallow for snow? And again, that'll kind of cut off any accumulations and we get into a light icing situation. And that should be very light. Like I said, freezing drizzle, very light freezing rain. And through the rest of the day, Tuesday, again, this is depicting some very light snow over our area as these two systems begin to move off to the northeast. But we believe that some of this might be mixed with freezing drizzle if the moisture is not deep enough. So really, that's the big forecast scenario and question right now. Lots of uncertainty in terms of just how deep that moisture will be. Can we continue the snow into Tuesday, or will it be primarily freezing drizzle, very light freezing rain, and not amounting to much more in terms of the snow? And then after that, the system moves off. But as it does so, and it's not depicted here, we'll have the wraparound northwest flow snow in the mountains. So Wednesday and even into Thursday, some significant accumulations of snow back on those favored western slopes. So taking a look at the forecast for now, and we do expect there'll probably be some changes just based on how things evolve and this question about the depth of the moisture. But for right now, we're carrying a winter storm warning for the North Carolina counties, and that is through the day Tuesday, and then a winter weather advisory up to about 460 not quite that far north as you get out to the Piedmont. Very light snow accumulations north of that, so we don't even have an advisory up here. And again, we think even that might take until this evening before we see any snow up there, and then it may transition into some very, very light freezing drizzle after that. So the accumulations could be very, very light to the north, a couple of inches across the advisory area at the most. So our significant weather page also depicts some of the details within that area. We're calling for 2 to 3 inches in the advisory area with a little bit of light icing, and that's only up to about Roanoke, New River Valley areas. And again, that might even be on the high side. We'll have to see if we need to back off on that a little bit. Blue Ridge might see a little bit more just because of the enhanced upslope, and then down in North Carolina we have the higher amounts expected, 4 to 6 inches. Some local areas maybe as high as 8. And then 3 to 4 out of the Piedmont areas, but that's enough for warning criteria. That should be, again, mostly late today into tonight, and then lingering maybe a little bit into tomorrow. So our final snow accumulation map right now, as of this morning, looks like this. The heavier amounts down in northwest North Carolina, tapering off a little bit as you go into the Piedmont, and then as you get up north of or up to about 460, the snow amounts really taper off quite a bit. So only about 2 or 3 inches in these areas, an inch or so at the most. North of 460. And here is a map that's depicting some of the very light icing we're expecting. Again, this is just a few hundredths, maybe a tenth of an inch at most, so we're not expecting the icing to be a problem. And then after that, after Tuesday, both these maps, by the way, go through Tuesday evening. After Tuesday, this system will move out, and then we have to look at the wraparound northwest flow snow, probably some pretty strong winds as well, blowing and drifting in those typical favored upslope areas. That's about it for right now, though. As I mentioned, this is a complex system. We probably will expect some changes in the forecast, so please stay tuned to our webpage at weather.gov/Blacksburg for the latest updates throughout the day. Thanks very much.